Ah, hey, Dusty. How's it going? Getting set up here. Here? Ah, that was me. I hear me. All right. Next is Twitch. Make sure that's up. Yeah, I think we're good. Trying to get back into game stuff since you haven't done much. Yeah, understand that. Yeah, I've been trying to do at least a little bit every day just so I don't, get into a bad habit of turning my brain off and playing BDO or something. So I haven't been doing a whole lot, but I have been making very tiny little steps. So the biggest thing that I did this last time was all of this, which is moving everything into JSON, um, using JSON system text JSON. Is that what it's called? um, which is the built-in JSON thing. And since I had all of that just kind of laying around in here, I decided to start moving them into their own folders so that I could know where things go. So before I start on my next thing, 10 straight days off. The longest you had not worked on it before was only 2 or 3 days. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand. And, sometimes you need some space and some time for sure. But tonight, oh yes, okay, so tonight what I'm doing, the main thing that I need to do, and I want to start the new shader for sprinkling in trees and things like that. I have no idea how I'm going to do that, but the code is looking nice. Well, it's getting there. Um, but before I do that, I want to finish cleaning this up. So what I currently have is uh, right now the only thing I'm actually sending to the GPU is this JSON here. Well, it's actually this JSON right here. And in order to send that in, I have this, where is it? Oh, I guess I don't need this, but extensions. Yeah, so this pretty ugly code here, which is based on reflection. But what I need to do and what I should do is instead of just getting the raw bytes like this, what I should do is move over to creating this as a struct and then marshalling it over into a bytes, which is what I tried doing the first time, but it didn't work for some reason. I can't remember why it didn't work, but it didn't. But I should have everything going to the GPU and everything coming from JSON in two different uh, sections, as opposed to JSON being the only thing that's actually loaded in, and then I just convert it to a byte array with this, because this isn't very expandable. Right now it only handles enums, ints, and floats, which technically are going to be the only things that I can send to the GPU anyway. But there are going to be things that, especially when I swap over to using this actual parameters JSON, I didn't load it up. You have a tree mesh, a grass, and a clover. Ooh. Maybe I could steal those from you. Or at least a tree, so I could just dot the same tree over and over again in a couple hours probably. Shader chunk generator. Why is that not loading? What? It's right here. What? This might just be because I moved. Oh no, I didn't move the terrain. Oh yeah, I did. I moved it into shader chunk generator. Wait, no, it's right here. Fixed dependencies. All right, so this, it's in scripts. It's in terrain. I also started moving things like this, which I've been trying to keep them feature specific. So stats, behaviors, creatures, things like that. Uh, but I had a couple of things like globals and shader terrain and stuff like that, like just sprinkled through here. So now I'm actually trying to keep them all separated. May already be in the drive. Yeah, I'll take a look here in a second. Cool, cool. Shader chunk generator. Um, yeah, I should start cleaning up all this stuff from the dual contour as well. So I should start putting that up. I'll probably do that offline tomorrow or something so that all this stuff just doesn't hang around. Open, okay. What? It's fine. It's going to error out because there's a couple things that are still moving around with namespaces. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, it's right here, so I don't know what it is talking about. Use a procedural material on it so that it can be randomized. Ooh, awesome. That that is going to make placing them a heck of a lot easier for me. That's for sure. That's a really cool feature. And you know, it doesn't really matter how it's going to look immediately. Because I mean, I was literally just going to do like a square or a cube or something and dot it around just to prove that it was working. It's going to be extremely simple to replace that out from under the shader generator. Why is it still so fast? Stop it. Go slower. There we go. Go faster. There we go. Okay. So it doesn't really matter if it's perfect yet. We could just replace it with the more final one later. So why is it saying that it's not loading? You confuse me. Uh, okay, yeah, I know that that's the one. Maybe if I just take it off and back on. Hey, stop it. Um, there might still be something missing because I was moving around all these namespaces. But it should be loading. Scripts.terrain, yeah, that is correct. Yeah, so this dot parameters dot util, all that stuff is going to be moved out so that it's not so deep. Well, it's going to be just as deep, but it's not going to be separated from the data because it is data. But first, I need to figure out why this shader trunk generator is not working. Here, let's say use. Oh, well, that's if it errors out now. That okay, yes, it's supposed to error out. Good, good. So that means that it's at least loading into Godot. Yeah. Oh man, they look so cool. And the little like flower fruits on them. Man, they're so cool. Um yeah, I'll look into adding either those or a different one depending on if you mind if I use those or not. For the stream that is. Uh but first I gotta figure out why this is not working. Shader generator. It's a Node 3D, right? Yeah. Attach the script. All right. Let's add a new script. Nope, not new script. Load. Oh yeah, yeah. I am sure that that names and all that stuff is probably going to be JSON stuff anyway, and that's going to be future us things because we want to be able to load it without having to go through compiling the whole game just to rename a tree or something. So yeah, that's going to be just left kind of open there. That is rebuild C# project. Use GPU. Okay, why is that not working? All right, time to restart. All right. Come on, Godot. I believe in you. I know it's probably something I did that's me being. Aha, wait. There's a lot of errors. We have a lot of errors. Oh, wait, I thought I turned off generate. It's going to crash. It's going to crash. But that's good. That's good. That means it's actually loading up again. I think it was just very confused with all these file changes and it hadn't loaded yet on the last iteration. Okay. We're good again. All right. So hit the button, undo the button. Okay. Where is red? None of these. Red. All right. Here's what we're looking for. Object reference not set to an instance of an object, line 92. Right. I have to okay, I'm gonna so this ready is getting called before since I moved around all these objects, the base terrain that was already there unloaded, and so it's trying to load this shader global here, um, which has a single thing, but that's weird. That's very weird. Huh. Um, I was expecting this to be null here, which would explain, because um, it's really weird, but it would explain why it's getting a null error here because this thing, the collision map is trying to update in real time, and so when it can't get the height of it, it just errors out. I need to obviously fix that, but the fact that it even has a little bit on there is kind of weird. Okay, that is expected. That's less expected. Huh. So let's dig in. Let's turn that off for now. Let's see what happens. All right. This is probably related to all of the stuff that I've been moving around. Although it was working yesterday. So that's kind of weird. Well, let's dig in. 127 visual shader and clip map. Okay, yeah. I had to do both. Hello? Oh, did it crash? Oh, it did. Yep. uh, never. We're connecting to your channels. Oh, what? Please enable channels here. Uh, Weird. Oh, cool. There's like a web thing here. Upgrade. So weird. Am I still alive? Hello? I did not mean to open that. There we go. Yeah, for some reason my restream disconnected there for a second. That was kind of odd. Alrighty, so we stopped that. Let's try it again. Okay, let's see if it actually ran. It didn't, because I see that it's not running. Added those tree files to the drive. Sweet. And the leaves texture. Ooh. Yeah, I have no idea how that's going to work. I've never spawned things, programmatically at least. So that's going to be fun. Okay, why is this not doing anything again? Why are you being silly? Globals. Oh, no, it's very weird on the height map. What? What? the height map and the what the heck? Biomap should be like this, but the height map should be relatively close to this. Only done it with the grass so far. Need to fix the normals for the grass so it looks nicer. Sweet. I have no idea how to even bring it in, but also how it's gonna look in here. Should be fine. I mean, Blender is like uh, the official thing. Let me see if it did something. No, it's still okay. Wait, why is it black all over here? There's no way that's oh, maybe that's why. Uh, okay. So that's one reason why. I don't know why that was all changed. Okay, that's how that should look, and that's more like it, sort of. It's very grid ping-pongy, but that's okay. There's a face. Oh my god, there's a face. Uh, so I think I just needed to do what I just did. I commented out the things that actually make it. Boink. I think when it was rearranging everything, I think it just lost track of what was happening. Um, or I'm just talking out my IS. uh, line 94. So, I mean, it is generating. It's just not setting it. Uh, why? But why is it not setting it? That's the question. See a tiger head? Yeah. Uh, yeah, because it's certainly doing the shader things. Yeah, because it's definitely 3200 by 3200. Uh, I can see the differences here. That looks good. I also have to say, for all of this, it's for about 10 square kilometers, 3,200 meters by 3,200 meters. It's only about 88 megabytes, and that's for all of the vertex data. That's not terrible. That can obviously be optimized a little bit later, but I think that's actually not that bad because that's only going to be saved as world data, and then we're going to have updates in other places. So the actual map itself is only going to be a couple hundred megabytes if you're making it this big, obviously. Welcome, welcome. I am trying to figure out why bad things are bad. Okay, let's see what's happening. Line 94. Why is this failing again? Um, Weird. Okay, so where's my clip map? No, it's a collision map. That's weird because I had that commented out because of this reason. And it's going to crash. Dang it. Come on, go ahead and crash. I'm waiting on you to crash. Hurry up. I'll just force you to crash. How about that? Take that, Godot. What is that? Is that a kitty thing? That's a cute little tiger kitty thing. Very hard to see in my OBS here. Okay. So I have that. Ready faces. So this right here is kind of where it's failing. Uh, no. Uh, no. Generated, that's fine. 94. It still says 94. That's so weird. It's like it's not getting collision clip map dot underscore ready. GD dot print. So it might be not setting this collision clip map correctly. Oh, wait a minute. That's okay. Well, now I know why. Clip map goes here, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did actually lose them and I didn't notice. I swear they were there just a second ago, but load shader material. Shader load. Biome shader, there it is. There we go. Okay, so let's make this much bigger. Whoa. Whoa, that's huge. That's a massive, whoa. Why is that so massive all of a sudden? I mean, it looks cool, but yeah, those are pretty big. Let me see what my no, not Blender. No, keep doing that. Keep clicking the wrong things. Bring this over here. I don't need this anymore. Um, this was not saved. That's kind of weird. Okay. Weird. It didn't bring over the actual window. It just brought over a new tab. That's weird. That's a massive whoa. I hear that a lot. Biomes. Nope. Biomes. Well, biomes and terrain. Okay, so it's only multiplied by 25, so that's kind of weird. Oh, well, I guess it's not, It's not 0 to 1, which is what it should be, because I need to be able to control it. I mean, it is looking really cool, though, huh? And that's just messing with the noise values. I wonder if it actually generates the collision. Yeah, it does. Cool. The normal maps, and obviously my character is rotated incorrectly, but yeah, that's so cool. I can run. So yeah, the things that I need to fix. So there's going to be some post-processing, like I was talking about in our channel. This kind of stuff right here is kind of cool sometimes, but having it always be like vastly different when you hit another biome just because of the different biome noises. Right now, forest is just different. It creates these like cliffs here because the height values are a little too offset. And it's cool for certain things, but not for every one of them. That would get old and unnatural for sure. So I want to be able to take the things around at the borders between them and do like an averaging so that instead of just a cliff, it would be like a big hillside or something. That would be the first thing that I would do. There would be other things if that doesn't do enough, because um, we might also for some reason find that even with averaging and stuff like that, it still isn't natural. It'll be a lot more natural, but it might not be natural enough. Um, and that's just stuff that we'll have to test. And that's kind of the whole point of adding in extra shaders and stuff, extra shader steps. Okay, so the dark abyss is a bit intimidating. Yeah, that's what I have selected as swamp, and I have that as like really flat, so it's just a flat abyss of darkness. Okay, one of these days I got to figure out how to uh do a stream where I can actually have music going. Music's the thing that I do. Oh, this can go away. Blender can go away. Debugger. Is that always happening? No, okay. Oh yeah, here the flatter swamp actually ended up higher than the one here. So yeah, that's that. Um, Another option that I was thinking was that there could actually be two height map steps. One with a bass noise that is kind of more hills and things like that. And then from there, I take the biome data and then do like a multiply or an add or something so that these are going to get added to things that are already naturally, ups and downs and stuff. And then I would still have to, smooth out the barriers between the biomes. But when I do that, that would mean that essentially these noises that I would be adding on top would essentially be like different fractals of noise that would be more of a modifier to terrain that was already created to be good enough, natural enough, I guess. Um, and then we can have all of these values in here as values that just modify the base noise. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, but I don't think we actually need that. Hmm. Okay. So we go back to what we are actually trying to do here, which is, of course, creating the things that I actually send forward, which are going to be structs and not classes. And the reason we do that is because structs in C sharp, well, in most languages, most C-based languages, um, structs are tightly packed, whereas classes can be marshaled into sizes that are a little bit looser with gaps in the data. And what that means is that when I take these parameters here, this is a class. When I take that, I have to be very mindful of where I actually create these bytes from. But with a struct, they should be already pretty tightly controlled. And so I should load from the JSON into this and then have a struct that I actually send to the GPU. I think that makes sense. So yeah, and actually uh, I wanted to do this too. That's actually another thing that I've been trying. So if I do biome name, we could do in fact, we're not going to call it biome name. We're just going to call it name, right? Because we already know that it's a biome. So name. Then we're going to call this material like that. And this is actually not, is that dirt? No, it was not dirt. It was not dirt. It was dream. Okay. I assume this is dream-based material. But essentially, this is going to be dirt. Essentially, I want all of the things, uh, all of the, well, basically as much as I can loaded from external files, and not these clunky classes that just sit around and look ugly and they're very hard to work with. It's just a lot of boilerplate code, and in order for me to change this, I would have to change it here and then go back to Godot and recompile everything. And especially once we actually have builds and everything, you have to recompile an entire executable uh, in order to even change silly things like the biome name or something like that. But if I have these as JSONs and I just toss them all into a big old folder, then I could just loop through all the JSONs, load them up as if they were uh, classes, and then use it that way. And that way we can have everything all in one area instead of two or three. This is called forest, not forest, not forest. Fractals helping the blend will be a really nice touch to it. Yeah, I kind of thought about that yesterday. Yeah, I mean there's a couple of things that could work for it. And with that, I would just create another noise on top of it or before it, and then I would run the thing and add them. So it wouldn't even really be that difficult from what I'm doing already. Quite a lot of, well, the vast majority of what I've done on this shader stuff, there is a lot of boilerplate and there's a lot of byte packing and JSON stuff. But honestly, the vast majority of the time that it's taken me is actually just learning all of this stuff because there's a lot to learn and I've never worked with shaders before. And now that I know this, everything from here on out should be quite a bit easier. One hopes, at least, as far as compute shaders go. Visual shaders is going to be about the same, but it's slightly different. Slightly easier, I think, but still slightly different. Plains. And swamp. Swamp. Okay, now we go back to here, biome parameters. This is no longer called biome name, it's called name. And now I need one more. We're gonna have public, we're gonna have string not seen multiplayer. What the heck are you doing? String, lowercase string. Material, path. So I'll have to rename it as material path instead of material. That's all right. Material path here. Willing to learn all this. Oh, I love this so much. But yeah, it's been a heck of a lot of fun for sure. But yeah, this has been a I was about to say this has been a dream for me for years now is to actually work on a real game. So being able to is just so freaking cool. I love learning this stuff and I love doing it. Okay, material path. Yeah, I'm super glad that uh, our worlds kind of came together all at once. That's pretty cool. Material. Oh, I call it material forest. I am very silly. Did I do that on all of those? No, but okay, there we go. I also need to implement these in the shaders, but this is just stuff that I'm tossing in as potential stuff. Uh, Total limits on the biome, whatever. It could be minimum height, maximum height, uh, well, anything else. Number of trees or whatever. Modifiers, so multipliers or adders and things like that. And randomizers, which will add a range or multiply a range or whatever. These are kind of just things that I was thinking that I would like to add in as we continue going up, just so we have uh, more options for randomness and control. Okay, so we have this. Biome parameters, GPU. Okay, this is not in class. This is a struct. And we'll call it public for now. Probably static. Nah, that's not going to be static. Um, yeah, we're going to have to. Hmm, hmm. Okay, I have to think about that for a little bit. So right now, FNL state is actually the struct that I'm sending in, or the bytes that I need to pack in, and that has all of the things from that noise function that I grabbed. Where is it? Here it is. It's not here. Here. It's all these things in here. And what that means is that if I want, oops, sorry, that was probably loud. If I wanted to change this, I would have to change it in the noise function. And so instead, I'll have another couple of things here. But what that means is that I need to actually have structs for not biome parameters, but shader parameters, because I can't send the entire thing as bytes to the GPU because it's not going to know what that means. So, and I would still, like, if I did use a biome parameters struct here, I guess noise parameters, uh, I would still have to do a lot of byte packing by myself, which would mean it removes a lot of the intention behind having structs and JSONs as well. So I call this shader noise parameters. Uh, yeah. I think I want to call this noise parameters. And actually, I want it noise parameters JSON. Because I would be loading this from JSON instead, or it'd be used with the JSON code at the very least. Oh, man, my neck hurts. All right. Yes. So noise parameters, CPU, GPU, not CPU. So we're going to toss all of these in there. Boink. So I would no longer need get total size in bytes because, well, I guess I do kind of need it. I will keep it for now. Okay, so this is no longer noise type and all that stuff. It's just going to be an integer, 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 distance type. So the problem that I was having when I tried this the very first time, I think you might have been there, but enum types are not marshalable. And so when I did marshalling, which is kind of the general idea of that you should be using, here, marshal to get byte array from struct C#. Marshalling is kind of the way that you should try to do it. And a lot of, man, that looks pretty bad with the HDR, but that's okay. Structure. Okay, this site looks bad. Struct to byte array. All right, let's do it. Oh my god, it's so bright. Why is everything so bright? Ah. Marshal as. Okay. Object size byte. Yeah, so this is a struct. Marshalling classes technically works, but it's not guaranteed to give you the correct bytes because the way that they're managed in memory means that one instance of a class versus another instance of a class could actually be completely different sizes, and that could move around bytes, which you really don't want when you're sending those bytes out to the GPU. So that's why we have it as a struct. Okay, so serialized message where T is a struct. Got it. Yeah. Okay. So that seems like that would be so eepy. Yeah. Yeah. I was eepy earlier. My nap helped with that, but it didn't help with my neck very much. Tonight might be an early night. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, my night tonight has to be a pretty relatively early night, before midnight at least, because I got to go into work tomorrow. Converts it back into a struct. I don't need to do that. Okay, so let's figure out where to put this. Data, add new. We could say byte converter. Well, no, GPU byte converter, right? You're gonna head out for the night, all right? Thank you for hopping on in and for sending that tree. If I have any updates on the tree thing, well, I'll let you know what the updates are for tonight anyway. But especially if I have anything with the trees in the game, that's gonna be really cool. But have a good night. Grass is in the folder too. Sweet. Yeah, grass is going to be a little different. Grass and things like that are only going to be loaded mostly like within the clip map around the player, just to save on computations and things. So that'll be a different shader. But yeah, I'll add those in as well. Or maybe and just sprinkle them around the trees or something for now. What does this say? Oh yeah, I guess we could do that, sure. Yeah, like around the base of the tree, yeah. Nighty nights. Okay, so we have this. Move static member to another type. I don't think I need to do that. Only I don't know why. System.byte, sure. Oh. Except, is that supposed to be the capital of that? Ow. Okay. Serialized message. Well, let's test it. Why not? Return rent. Yeah, that seems right. This gonna have properties, right? Yeah. They don't have them as properties, but let's see here. Properties versus fields for structs to send to GPU. If they are not different, then it'll be fine. Ow. Yeah, okay, so it's not going to be a problem. I was just making sure that properties aren't going to be different than than fields when I'm doing this marshalling. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. So we're going to have that. Now we have to have a constructor. And we'll say noise parameters JSON, blank, blank. Oh, come on, keep going, keep going. Oh, come on. Almost had it right. All right, all noise type. Ah, that's why. Okay, so noise type equals JSON dot noise type int. Rotation type, fractal type. Yep. Okay, fractal type. You gonna do it? Come on. Ah, you almost had it. There we go. Octaves lockinarity gain. Weighted strength, ping pong strength. Yeah. Circular, cellular, not circular, cellular distance type equals, yep, there we go, perfect. Sometimes these things really do help. Cellular jitter mod, domain warp frequency. Okay, sure. But I actually want domain warp frequency. And now domain warp type. And domain warp type. And since that is a type, I have to have that as an integer. Okay, type amp gain. Oh. JSON dot domain. Oh, I spelled it. Fat fingered it. Okay. Domain warp lockinarity. And one last one, domain warp octaves. I could do this with reflection, and it'd be a little bit more better, but I don't want to don't want to do that. So okay, so shader chunk generator. All right, so that shader parameters I have to load. Kind of want to bring this up to here. There we go. because that's used down here. Ba-da-ba-da. Ba-da-ba. Get shader parameters. Okay, so this prints that out. Okay, so noise param byte array. Oh. Okay, so this is going to be get shader GPU uh, okay, so this should now return noise parameters GPU. Okay. Get this out of here. We want to do var that's going to be GPU byte converter dot serialize message. Well, okay, serialized message. I should rename that to something else. Serialize serialize struct. Okay, this is no pies. Noise. That must be a non-nullable value type. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm doing this all wrong again. I have to say var noise params GPU equals new. What is it called? Noise parameters GPU. Right. Oops. So we actually do this. I'm not sending out bytes just yet. Okay, so I get all my parameters here. Now I have to add them all together. Yeah, and I just did it .2 byte array. So instead we do GPU byte converter dot serialize struct on P. Okay, that is true, although this should probably be the struct. Because when we're sending them out to the struct, that's actually, or out to the GPU rather, that's actually when we really, really need that. Yeah, so it'll clip map, collision map, go away, go away. You must change the signature. So we could say type of this dot get properties times size of int. Yeah. I don't know why it's use primary constructor. Whoa. Whoa, that's really kind of cool. That I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay, that's really cool. You could just declare a struct with a constructor like this, and then you can just pass in. That that's insanely cool. All right. That blows my mind. Saves a few lines, but it just looks a lot better that way, which is far more important than line noise. Two string, sure. This can get cleaned up a little bit too. This can get cleaned up as well. Okay, so this 2 byte array thing is basically not needed anymore. In fact, I'm going to do shader noise extensions. We're just going to delete it right now. Goodbye. Util, delete, delete. What? Why did it do twice? Nobody knows. Okay. Should be good, right? One would hope. Failed to build. Get total size in bytes. All right. Get noise params byte array. Oh, I didn't change it. I thought that I did. That's odd. Okay. Instead of null. No, not that. Okay. All right, now let's see what happens. Here we go. Click. Yay. Things are working. Okay, still, which is good. Click again. Boink. Yay. Okay, so now we actually have that as a struct using a GPU byte converter, which is really good. That is secondary to it. These things, I'm going to have to clean those up. Herby derby der. Okay, well, I will be right back. I'm gonna get something for my neck, so I'll be back shortly. Okay, there we go. Huh, yeah. Um. Hmm. Okay, go back in here and make sure we're not actually getting any errors. Okay, it crashed. Uh, rude. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Collision map, yeah. Okay, man, that looks so cool. Okay, cool. So, kind of want to add in another like pre-processor, so the pre-terrain. Um, but we're not going to do that right now. Material path. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, this should probably be in the struct. Yeah, it is in the struct now. Good. Block copy. Good, good, good. Okay, so we can actually start another script now, another shader, if you will. Hmm. Okay, so yeah, we can start another shader. Let's do it. Why not? Why not, right? We're gonna come from the biomes. Let's duplicate. We're gonna say compute. Fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do shaders. This would be called compute. Both of these are gonna go into there. Okay. Now we're gonna rename them. This will be biomes. Okay. This will be terrain underscore biomes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know, I know. All right, now we got to load these, not this, it's not this or that. It is this, okay. Slash compute slash biomes. There we go. This is going to be slash compute slash terrain, right? No, terrain underscore biomes. Okay. Uh, editor bottom, etc., etc. What are you talking about? VBox can only be accessed from either main thread. Use call deferred. It probably. That's all right. Okay. Except it's not. Hmm. All right. So there's a couple of things in here that I don't need anymore. Namely these. So noise parameters we no longer need. We need shader parameters. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna say. Uh, We can keep those in. That's fine. It's not really that big of a deal. Okay, export. We want to do a public um, string. Uh, Instead of a string, let's see how string looks like in here. Yep, so that's not what I want. Yeah, I can't do that. We want to do resource then, right? Is that what that's called? And saved on disk. Packed scene. Resource. And this will be biome shader. And then we'll have terrain compute shader. Okay. Biome compute shader will be here. Well, biome compute shader dot load. Is that a thing? No, it is not. Dot load. Okay, so we can call these shaders then instead of resource. Is that a thing? This should be export. Hmm. Loading fails. Well, get ID for path. Loaded or cached. Hmm. Uh, Resource path. Hey. Base shader. What's happening here? Okay. This is different. Uh, Gotcha. There's no like compute shader, is there? Visual shader. It's a lot of visual shader stuff. Only meant to be used with the rendering device. It should not be confused. Compiled shader file. Okay, I don't need that. Yeah, I guess we'll just say shader. It's fine. Ah, no, it is an RD shader file, isn't it? Let's say, oh, is this biomes? Yeah, biome compute shader dot resource path. Okay, so where'd it go? Right there. Okay. This I no longer need. I just wanted. Okay. Terrain biomes. Nope, this is null. Okay. Hmm. Include failed for includes fast noise light. Oh, where's my fast noise light? Includes. Gotcha. Okay. What is this? Backed up? Hello? Oh well. Let's see. So I could do I guess dot dot forward slash. Don't like doing that. Open. Is it opening it? Okay, I don't. All right. So open this. Dang it. Open. How? Mm, there we go. And dot dot forward slash. Let's see if that works. Clear this. Oh, there we go. Yep. And if that goes away, then this should fail. Yep. Okay. Bring out the biome shader again. Blink. Okay. And then this into terrain biomes, which is correct here. It's just terrain compute shader. There we go. There we go. What? There's no output whatsoever. All right. Should be, but okay. It's weird that these are not being printed. That's odd. Get constant param byte array. Okay. So I kind of want to load into this. Um, because it's bugging me. I'll do that offline. All right, let's see. Okay, go back to output, click on the button. Weird that it's still, oh, there we go. Okay, I don't actually need to print that. Although, yeah, this also says reflection is enabled, which is weird, but it seems to be working anyway. Noise parameters, GPU. Okay, noise parameters, GPU. Folder for JSON. Okay. Converters. Okay, now I've made a little bit of changes there. Gonna do one more test. Good. Click. Okay, good. Which of course means I can remove a couple of these things like this. That can go away. This can go away as well. I wonder if we just take that off, if it works at all. No, it doesn't. Fine by me. I wanted to just see the, oh, well, that would have been a very long, would have been what they call a mistake. I'll say it that way. Okay, we've cleaned up a little bit of the code. So next, yeah, that's so much cleaner. All right. Geez, I want to rip those out. I want to rip them out so bad. I'll do that offline though. I'll do it offline. So what I want to do is check. Okay, so we have a start new shader, a compute list thing. Hello. More handsome than in picture. Huh. Okay. My day's not been too bad. Oh, my neck's hurting tonight. And just cleaning up some code tonight. So no huge gains on that yet, but still exciting. Always exciting to get a little bit done. Because that's certainly needed. So let's see. Next is that. Multiplier. Shouldn't that be multiplier? So I could add those in. But if I do, they're going to have to be as JSON and GPU things. Okay, add that in there. Yes, adjust the namespace. These go to JSON. Nick the dog. No, I don't know that. I don't play Fortnite at all, so let's see. Go ahead and rename these as well. Make sure that they actually have JSON on the end, even though they're not actually JSON. They're just for interacting with the JSON. All right, now let's see. Everything still works. Oh. type of biome limits. Is it what? Rename. Biome limits, JSON, yes. Moving on up here. Yes, adjust the namespace. That means I can delete. Oh my, that's a lot of parameters. What the? Terrain.biomes. Dot parameters. Yep, don't need that anymore. VR chat? No, I don't play VR chat either. Huh. There we go. So we're loading it up again. And it crashed again. Dang it. Ah, didn't mean to do that, but I guess while I'm here I can check to see if I'm gaining. I am. That's very loud. Why are you so loud in my ears right now? Well, for what I play Black Desert Online. Which is what this is, but it's currently training for me, and this is not what I meant to do, but since I'm in here. Oh, not combat, skill. That's what I need. There we go, now we can close that again. Okay. Stupid neck. Okay, so it looks like that's loading here. Now I can start on the GPU stuff again. So this will be, dang it. What I could do, noise parameters, all these, I already have those. Oh, I don't want to move them, cancel. Copy and paste. I had to talk to a counseling woman. She's very mean. Oh no, that's not how that's supposed to be. GPU. This is not internal anymore. It's public, and this will be struct. Y. Doesn't make any sense. What? Shader modifiers GPU. Wait, what? Why did it? That's weird. That should be JSON, not. Okay. Not mess up any of my other things. Oh. Okay, get out of here. Shader modifiers we need. What? Struct with field initializers explicitly declared. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so this needs to have this. It'll be shader modifiers. Shader modifier, JSON. Grab this in. JSON dot height multiplier and JSON dot height add. That is what I wanted. All right, now what is it saying? No, because it's not public. Public. I don't know if kicking or punching yourself is going to be a good way to solve that problem. Probably wouldn't be helpful for you. I hope you can resolve it though. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. Okay, there we go. So now we have that. I did not mean to open Spotify. Stop it. Tonight brought to you by clicking the wrong icons. Mm-hmm. I didn't rename it. It's GPU. This is in GPU, not JSON. Okay, this will be biome parameters JSON. JSON equals JSON dot name. Yeah, I don't know. I think you'll just have to sit it out. JSON dot limits. Ew, no, JSON. Shader modifiers GPU. What did it do? I don't know, a struct inside of a struct. I don't know if that's going to work for byte conversion, but that's all right. Well, shader modifiers. Yeah, I think maybe shader randomizers now has to be GPU as well. So I don't need that. Not for now, at least. This is GPU. Why did it not do it? This is also GPU. come on. This is biome limits GPU, and I didn't name it. Didn't rename this either. Dang it. Okay, didn't rename that either. And there's a lot of things I didn't rename. Okay, look here, look here. Noise parameters JSON, yes, correct. Using JSON up here. Okay, now we're getting there. Okay, that should be public. JSON should also be public. Okay, limits, that's fine. Okay, now what is it saying? Shader randomizers GPU. It's right here. Oh, there we go. Come on. Why did you do that? All right. Did I forget? Yeah, it's lowercase. There we go. Well, that's not supposed to be a class. It's supposed to be a struct. So marshalling might not work for this because it's nested structs. But we'll have to resolve that once we hit it. Okay. This is not supposed to be GPU. That's supposed to be JSON. Oh, come on. What? Oh, it's lowercase. Okay. Break all those down. It's generated stuff. Make sure we don't get any errors. We did not, or we did, I mean. Oh, right. New shader modifiers GPU. Wrapping The modifiers there. Randomize is just which it's struct, so it's not really nullable. I ever figure out the assembly thing? Yeah, so I now have it using system.text.json. And it doesn't seem to be running into that issue before, or that I was having before, rather. Where was it? So essentially, system.text.json has a assembly unloading problem because of the caching that it does with the reflective type. And it was easier to fix it with system.text.json than it was going to be with Newtonsoft, just because Newtonsoft is older than .NET 9, and so it's harder to tell it not to use reflection in the way that it does things. Whereas system.text.json, I don't know where, here it is, can actually be created using a different context. And then all of this is automatically generated. And when I generate it, I can, okay, let's see. How do I open this? I can tell it not to use reflection, and there it doesn't actually cache hard, doesn't hold on to the handles by using by not using reflection, and so it can clean up after itself. Open folder. Does that work? I don't know. Open. Yeah, there we go. Dynamic assembly loading and unloading. Yep, exactly. So the biggest thing that I had to do, so enabling dynamic loading probably wasn't needed, but most things said that it's good to have it anyway in .NET 9, because eventually dynamic loading is going to be needed somewhere in there. But the things I needed was this JSON serializer reflection enabled to turn it to false, and then the generated files itself, which tells it that it's going to use generated files for all of these types in here. And this shouldn't be GPU, that should be JSON. Like that. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest on this. For this entire thing, I had to resort to asking ChatGPT and then kind of guiding it around, because I could not find anyone that had a dedicated, actual, full solution on how to do it. So there was a lot of ChatGPT and Google searching offline for sure. But hey, if it works, right? So yeah, let's see. Let's make sure nothing else is going on here. Yep. So everything's all still loading. So today I'm mostly just working on, make this bigger, mostly just working on cleaning up some code. But also tossing in separating the byte conversion from just using the raw classes into wrapping them with structs before I send them as bytes to the GPU. And the reason to do that is because, as I have learned, classes, one, you can't really get a correct byte size of a class because it's a managed thing. You can't really get the exact bytes from it without a lot of manual work to basically use reflection and go through all of the types and then manually convert them from int or float or enum into bytes. And structs, on the other hand, they do have an easy way to do that, which is using marshalling. And this is the thing I first tried to do. Where is it? Where's my byte converter? Oh, there it is. Um, this is what I first tried to do when I had it, but I couldn't do it, and I thought it was just not going to work. But the reason it wasn't working the first time is because I was using a class with enum values in it, or at the first one was a struct with enum values in it. Marshalling doesn't work on enums or anything like that, so they just have to be force converted into the underlying type, which is usually an integer. And so that's what I did here when I wrapped around my struct here. I just got the enum as an integer, and then I can just marshal it directly to get all my bytes out. And that makes things a lot less manual and a lot quicker because it doesn't have to go and loop through all of the properties and use reflection and all that, which is not only insecure and annoying, but it's also just really a lot of code. And it's also a lot slower. Was gonna ask how I found that because yeah, I was looking for probably a good 2 or 3 hours before I was like I caved in and asked ChatGPT. I had to still work another like hour with it because it wasn't 100% correct, but there are little bits and pieces that ChatGPT um the blitting from marshal to unmarshal code. Sorry, what was that in reference to? I mean, obviously this, but this was just normal. That's like the first thing that comes up when you search converting bytes into or classes into bytes or structs in this case. But for the JSON itself, yeah, that was a lot of Chat GPT cobbling together a bunch of things. But it was right. So we got it. So I'm happy with that. Uh, uh, so if it's memory managed, they have to be specifically, they have to have their own code to interact with threads. If you're doing threading like on a CPU or something, you would have to either manually add in locks for it, or you would have to use um, the parallel versions of those things. So list and collections and all those actually do have thread safe versions that you can use if you need to do that. But I'm doing everything on the GPU, and the only way to send information back and forth to and from the GPU is through packed byte arrays. So yeah, so I don't really have to keep them managed anywhere. The only reason I have the classes is to pull from my JSON files in here. Which, yeah, was so annoying trying to do it with the built-in Godot thing because it's not nice. It's not great. I mean it's fine for what it is, but if you need to do a lot of things like this, it's just uh you have to convert it using the built-in Godot variant, and you have to convert back and forth, especially if you're using custom types like enums and things like that. You have to convert back and forth. And why is there no sound? Sound? Hello? Oh, thank you for the raid. Did anybody else hear the sound? I didn't hear the sound. The blitting, yeah, to send the bytes to the GPU. Yeah, yeah. So, um, I before used reflection. Let me see if I still have my old version. to loop through my JSON, which is right here, uh, in order to get all of these things and then convert them all into byte arrays manually. Uh, and a lot of it is this code right here is the thing that I had to do just to load the JSON from the folder into an actual class, just because it has to use reflection because it doesn't automatically do that. And so if it's not like an integer or a float or any base variant type, so if it's an enum or a nested class or something, it doesn't work, uh, which makes things a lot more inconvenient. System text JSON and Newtonsoft both use, well, they both have reflection and non-reflective ways of doing it, but they do it automatically. You don't have to corral these things into different types. They just do it. uh, so this was just getting ints, floats, and enums for this one type inside of my thing, which is just this right here. I hadn't worked on adding all this other stuff in, and before I did, I didn't want to have to do all of this kind of thing again for these, even though they're only ints and floats, um, because that would have been really annoying. And so I buttoned down and asked ChatGPT, and I was like, "Please help." And once I did, it was much better because where is it? Is it in my factory? I mean, I think I just use it directly in my factory. Yeah, so this right here was all of that code, and I also had to do all of this as well if I used Godot. But for system text JSON, it's literally just this right here. It's just creating a new context, making sure that it's case insensitive, and then grabbing it as text, and that's it. Deserializing it. I don't want to have to figure this out myself when I get to it. Yeah, I absolutely want to write this up as well because um, I searched for so long and I could not. I found a bunch of pieces that were getting me frustratingly close to like a direction to go, and it was just so confusing. There's conflicting sources. Some people say that Newtonsoft works. Some people say that it doesn't. Uh, what I did find by myself, oh, I don't know if you can see me. Um, oh, you have the ads blocked. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Um, so yeah, I actually, yeah, you're right. I should write something because there's a lot of conflicting information and there's nothing that's all in one area on how to do it. And the only thing that I could find essentially was using any external, well, most external JSON uh, packages like system text JSON, which is the built-in, or Newtonsoft. A lot of them use reflection by default just to make things more dynamic. Um, but by using reflection, that means that all of the fields or properties that they're using reflection for, they cache by holding on to a hard pointer to it in memory. And that means that when Godot says, hey, it's time to clean up, this assembly can't unload itself because when it's trying to be unloaded, it's like, well, I can't unload these things that I have that I'm holding on to. And so it just fails, and Godot just stops after 3 attempts. It just completely breaks the whole program. It's like, nope, I'm done. I'm not gonna continue trying to unload these things, and then it stops receiving any input or anything. Hey, Strophium, when the heck did I start streaming again? A few weeks ago. A few weeks ago. Yeah. How you doing, man? It's been a long time. I don't know if you saw this earlier. Nope, not game. 3D. This is what I've been working on here, unless I just crashed it. I did not. Aha. Um, yeah. So basically, just the ability to like, if I put this as I don't know, point 0.4 or something, that should be 4 times pointier when I actually see it. Dirt, where is it? Come on, Dirt. Where are you? Dirt. Dirt. Oh, come on. Did I break it again? I broke it again. Anyway, essentially it loads in a bunch of biomes, and the biomes each have their own noise value. Had a weird period, at least in Unity, where the version they used was kind of butt and couldn't deserialize backing fields. So the only way that I could use it in Unity, so I used it for a couple of years in Unity. You were probably there at for some of those at least, because I remember I was doing a lot of that Unity tool, that behavior tree tool, and when I used it, then it worked, but I had to use the somebody made a Unity version of it, and that essentially does what I had to do here with the system text JSON, is that it actually forces reflection either off or to be broken enough that it doesn't hold on to those things, because it's very much the same idea, is that they Unity and Godot want to clean up after themselves once these things are loaded. They have their own cleanup things, and when they call that from the assembly, if there's anything that they're just hard holding on to, they won't unload. And then Godot and Unity will just fail. I don't know about Unity anymore. I haven't worked in that in a couple years, but Godot for sure will fail with errors saying it's unable to unload assembly, and it just says it 3 times, and then it says stopping reload, and then nothing else in the editor works anymore. You have to restart the editor. Um, and it's probably a good thing, because ultimately, if it did just ignore that error, it would become a actual memory leak instead of just one dangling pointer. It would be just constantly, every time it would unload, it would just have all of these dangling pointers that would lead it to crash anyway. There's one of them, a dirt. Now he's all, since I added the thing. Right, exactly. So you wouldn't unload. So the only reason this is a problem is because I'm using this as a tool inside the editor. And that was actually the exact same problem that I had with Unity, because I was making a tool, like an actual tool for others to use. So yeah, so these colors are different biomes. And all of these biomes and everything are done on the GPU. So right now it's 3,200 meters by 3,200 meters, and it's pretty much instant. Um, but yeah, so I could have taken all of this outside of my tool and just had it inside of my actual built game here. Uh, but as you can see, there are other issues to that. Looks like my little player is too low. Where are you, buddy? There you are. Way there. There we go. Was just working on a procedural generation. Wanted to procedurally generate puzzles. Ooh, fun. What did you kind of make your own algorithm, or did you start on like A star for it, or what kind of algorithm you got going on there? Because I that's the kind of stuff that I love. I love procedurally generating things, and AI as well. Like, well, the original meaning of AI, like pathfinding and things like that. Hi, the bomb. How you doing? Yeah, so as I was saying, the only reason this is actually a problem is, as you said, I'm using this as a tool, so it's all in tool code. If I took this off, it would work with Newtonsoft and system text JSON without the reflection assembly things, but then I wouldn't be able to be lazy and uh, quick and just click a button like that. I'd have to put it inside of the actual built world, and I was too lazy to do that when I was making this. Well, I don't. I mean, the thing is, I could implement this in the game, right? So I could just have it load, and then say like every time I hit J, it just reloads the whole map. Um, I was doing this in a bit of a different way. So the only camera that I have in the game and the only light is attached to my little tiny player here. And so if I wanted to see an entire huge map like this, I don't have a way of like flying around in my world yet. So I would have had to implement that as well. And plus, this is just faster and like really freaking cool when it's not crashing. Amount of people you see start their game and click through 100 times to get something they're debugging. Yeah, that's another thing is that I want it to be quick iterations, right? So I don't want to have to recompile the entire game and wait for it. I mean, yeah, it's only an extra 20 or 30 seconds every time, but dang it, I might only be changing one little thing. I don't need to wait, 2 minutes or a minute for it to load a whole world. Um, this is another issue though, is that every now and then it just crashes anyway, but it's quick to load it up again. There's obviously there's issues with doing it either way, right? Like either both ways have their own issues, so you just have to figure out a way around them. Also, when I do this, one reason I want it in the editor is I want to be able to have tools so that I can test not really voxelization, but basically turning this into voxel-like terrain where I can edit it in real time. And I don't want to have to implement all of the tools and all of that stuff and then compile and then go in the game and like test out a pick in every single different terrain in order to do it to make sure that all of the biomes are all set correctly. And you know unless I set this noise to be much smaller, if I wanted to test dirt right now, like this is 1.2 kilometers, over across right now. So, like, if my character wanted to run from this side to the nearest dirt, it would be, I don't even know where. It doesn't look like there's any dirt. There's some over here now. Um, and of course, if I'm testing something like that, I want to make sure that all of the biome types are going to be able to update and everything like that. So it just kind of helps with iteration speed as far as debugging and tracking things down. I don't have to spend 20 minutes clicking my pick or something in the game to make sure that because it's going to call the same function when I do the things. I just want to have it inside of the editor because that's just I don't know. That's a cool idea to me. Memeing with the stitched Bezier algo. Oh, come on. It paused. Now it's buffering. What are you buffering? Yeah. So actually, that's actually exactly what I'm doing right now. Um, I did not create these this shader code. So Godot has its own implementation of an open source library called Fast Noise Light. Uh, but you can't pass those to shaders. You can pass them to visual shaders, which are, well, not visual shaders, but the um, the GD shaders, the Godot shaders. You could pass them to them, but you can't pass them to compute shaders, which is what I'm using. Because compute shaders they only interact with byte arrays. And so I had to get it, unless I did the noise on the CPU and then sent that noise to the GPU, which is what I originally did. That is incredibly slow because, as you probably know, noise takes a hell of a lot of calculations just to get 1 point. In order to get a grid of trillions of points, I mean, this on the CPU this size right here probably would have taken about 7 to 8 minutes on a single thread. If it did crash, because it would be thread busy for so long. I could have tried to synchronize that, chunk it smaller, get maybe 6 threads out, but still, it would probably still take a minute to generate this versus all of this. So I put all of the noise into their own shaders. The way that I did that was I implemented the fast noise light open source. They have their own open source shader code here, and I just put it in here so that I found out that you can actually have includes with the compute shaders. So I actually just include this noise library in with the compute shaders. So thankfully I have, Perlin and domain warp and all of this stuff into it. And basically I had to implement a couple of ways to interact with this, because a lot of the things were not really so domain warp, for instance, was not enabled in this, so I had to figure out a way to do that. It was relatively easy, but it seems like they don't really update this this shader code as often as the base code, but it works for me. So write a script to generate noise textures and save them off all night. Then you just pick a noise texture at random. Perfect. See, exactly. You just use this like it's generative AI. You just generate on a single thread for days at a time, keep them all into a huge array, load them like a 30 gigabyte JSON file at the beginning, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have entire worlds right there. You don't even need a seed at that point. You would just do a random value out of the array. Cycles versus RAM, a tale as old as time. Yeah, I mean, I have 64 gigabytes of RAM. And as a game developer, I can just assume that everybody's going to have that much RAM, right? I'll just put minimum requirement, 64 gigabytes of RAM. I'm sure that would go off very, very well. But yeah, so this was my first big break, to be honest, because noise is incredibly complex, with primes and shifting variables, and there's linear algebra with matrices, and oh man, there's so much to learn interacting with even just regular noise with just random values is incredibly complex to make, because if you want it in an actual XY variant, like a grid of points, you have to make sure that these are all continuous functions at all points, and you have to make sure that there's no overlapping. So you're basically implementing an extremely complex hashing algorithm is what you're doing. And I didn't want to do that, because, I mean, as you can see, this is like 3,000 lines of 2,300 lines of GPU code, and I was already trying to learn the GPU code, the compute shader code. I didn't want to also have to learn this. I'd still be doing this for like months. So I'm really glad that Fast Noise Light has their open source noise library here for me just to grab. My shaders look like this so far. Biggest things that I had to do was implement this byte packing here, so I can send in biome states. Each Fast Noise Light instance has its own parameters, So that's like the type of noise that it is, the gain, the lockinarity, the fractals, number of octaves, things like that. And I just implement it like this so that I can pop in the is that true noise is that it's not random enough for our monkey pattern brains. Very, very true. That's like, like white noise. That's what I was originally going to try to do was, I was reading white papers and shaders and things, and that's when I realized I really don't slash cannot implement this myself. That would be way too big brain for me. I was already hurting my brain in the first two iterations of this using bass noise, and I implemented voxels. So the first two iterations were using first one was marching cubes, just bass marching cubes, and the second one was dual contouring marching cubes. Look really, really freaking good, but they're really, really slow. Dual contouring as well. When I chunked it out, they had seams between all of them. Seams. Did I say seams or seams? I don't know. But it was not great. Let me see if I have examples of that. I probably do, right? Server. Yeah, marching cubes and dual threading, or dual contouring. Oh, it was really fun to do, until I hit issues with it, and yeah, I sort of parallelized it. I chunked it out, so it would do like 20 chunks at once, and that way I could parallelize it, just give a thread to each chunk, and that made it faster. But if I wanted to do, say, 32 by 32 chunks, and there were 128 chunks, right? That would take uh, probably 30 seconds ish to load, and it would look freaking awesome. It was great. It was beautiful. But this can do 3200 by 3200 without having to even think about threading because GPUs are automatically threaded. Um, and it's so much freaking faster. So my second iteration with dual contouring, what I was going to do is try to bring that into compute shader land. Uh, but when I couldn't figure out the seams, I just went from scratch just to come back into here with raw noise values. And now that I have raw noise, I have to go and voxelize it a little bit more. See, and that's I didn't parallelize the first. So marching cubes, I didn't have a way of parallelizing it. Um, let's see. Why do I not have? Uh, I want to try to get some pictures. Let's see. Game? Is that what it? No. Hmm. I have them saved somewhere. I'm just trying to figure out where they are. Um, but I swear that I had them on my cloud. Come on, why is my cloud not working now? Ah. Um, anyways, the normal marching cubes, one, it was not as smooth as I liked, especially getting down into like divisions. Three divisions was smooth-ish. That just means that you divide each cube into eight, 3 by 3, and well, you divide it into three times. So the that was quite slow, and that was like at the very beginning of what I considered to be relatively good looking, as opposed to like Minecraft, which looks just fine, but That's not the look that we were going for, right? We weren't going for cubes, which is what marching cubes is good for. As you know, dual contouring is quite a bit smoother and quite a bit faster. But the way that I did it was that I had a chunk size and I did multiple different chunks. So I would do like 10 chunks of 32 by 32. And then I would send each one of those chunks as their own version. And I would calculate the noise for the entire area all at once, and then I would send it out to make the surfaces. Uh, that led to like big gaps between the chunks because obviously the chunks can't talk to each other because they're on different threads. And so as you're dual contouring, you're trying to uh, basically query all of the nodes around you every time, right? And if you're at the edge of your 32 by 32 node on your chunk, then you think you're at the edge of the whole world when the next chunk also thinks it's at the edge of its world. So there's just a big old seam between them. And that was what I was trying to figure out for like a whole month, and it was hurting my head like crazy. uh, hmm. Could have sworn that I had it. I mean, I guess I could look in Telegram and go scroll way the heck back. There it is. So this was my dual contouring thing. -1 and +1 on the edges specifically for the seams. Yeah, and that's kind of what I did. Oops. How do I do that? There we go. That's kind of what I did, but I couldn't get them to quite do it. Um, the way that I was doing it, I think was a little pre-optimization. So I was trying to make it so I didn't have to go back in and query these edges. So as I was building each of these chunks, I was adding these edges to arrays or lists, and then I would go through just on the edges and try to stitch them together like that. Uh, and it didn't work very well. In fact, this is one of the many things that I drew just to try to explain it to myself when I was going through it. So essentially, you would have a sorted list on each side based on size, and then you go from the um, what is that called? The weight point, the grade. It's the gradient of these three planes. I can't remember what that's called. Um, the middle of it. But you would go from there and basically draw lines on all of them, and then you would add in these triangles. And that's what I was hoping to do, but unfortunately, it only got to that far. Yeah, like there's just edges here where oh man, it was so annoying. I tried for like a month to whack my head against this, and it looks so good, but it's just not quite there. Let's see what else is there. And then here's with it not using the same seed per chunk, and so like they would just float. Man, God, it looks so cool. It looks so cool. I love it. But like I said, this right here, which was, let's see, 16, so it's 16, and the chunk size is 16. So this is only 256 by 256, right? This took something like 45 seconds to do. The site went paid and deleted all your videos. Oh man, that sucks. I have it all on my own cloud. Last year, near the end of the year, my huge 12 terabyte drive that I've been using for my entire life, um, all everything on it, and it died. So I had to go back to a backup from like 3 years ago, and it's like, nah, screw this. I bought a NAS and set up my own home lab server and everything. I'm like, yeah, this isn't gonna happen again. Um, but obviously I can't connect to it right now because I haven't connected in a while. But yeah, so this right here, 256 by 256, it looks really good, but one, there's seams, obviously, and two, this 256 by 256 took about 30 to 60 seconds, about 30 seconds, I guess, after it was parallelized. Um, but I don't like people accessing my files on my network, even through Cloudflare. Why is this not letting me scroll up? There it goes. No, not the Centroid. I mean, I could just look it up. I still have that code laying around. It's just commented out right now. This was at the beginning of this year is when I was working on that. Where is it? Oh, it's in scripts. Duh. Okay. So this is, oh god, it generates everything. I also used octrees, so I had to implement all of that. Uh, Jeez, man, it was so in depth. I mean, just the terrain generator, just to call the things, was almost 500 lines. That's not all the math and all that. It was crazy. It was fun. I learned a hell of a lot, but it just wasn't going to work. The thing is, like, 256 by 256, like that's nothing, right? In the grand scheme of things, that's about 250 meters by 250 meters. Versus this right here is just a part that is a 1200 meter by 1200 meter line, but it's actually generating 3200 by 3200, and it generates all of them out here, and it does this in like a second, actually less than a second usually, and that's even loading from JSON, which the other one was all hard coded stuff. Um, so it just wasn't. It didn't seem like it was gonna converge to a point that was really nice, really gonna be good. This stuff looks really, really good though. This is with a different material, but yeah. Oh man, I had to do testing, so I had a sphere that was just a sphere in 3D space, obviously, and then in order to run it, I would generate a surface over it, and this is how I tested it. Uh, and this is what happens at the edge of a lot of things because when you try to get the gradients when you're outside of specific angles to each other, they become either infinite or zero, or well, infinite or negative infinite. And so they do these spikes of craziness. And I finally got this was marching cubes, and this was my like second iteration of the dual contouring. To WFC, there are marching cubes compatible. I was very, very close on that one, huh? Yeah, there's some real marching cubes is so cool. I love it. But it just wasn't gonna. Um, so here's another thing. I also will say that one of the reasons it was getting really slow is because I created a mesh collider for the entire area as well. I currently create a 9 by 9 around the player that just moves with the player, and that's a lot faster, obviously. Um, if I tried to create it like this, it just gets very, very slow. Collider mesh creation is not fast. Uh, Looks cool though. Looks really, really cool. And that's that. Yeah. Yeah, there's marching cubes. That's not. That was just the yellow stuff. Yeah, this is marching cubes. But dual contouring is just so cool. This was dual contouring. And there's obviously ways that I could have optimized it, but I just couldn't see it getting to a point where I was comfortable enough to work within it, since I'm the only programmer on the project, but also getting to a point where it would be fast enough to create a gigantic world that it wasn't. I mean, because this is just base noise. I wasn't generating anything else. It was just passing noise values in through a sign distance field method that I had, and I just didn't see it getting to a point where creating 100 square kilometers wasn't going to take 2 hours, even with CPU threading. So my idea even back then was always to bring it to GPU code, and unfortunately I found out that I don't remember advanced linear algebra, as much as I would hope, because that stuff it hurts my brain so much. And trying to figure it out was like, oh man, like one little thing was off and nothing worked. And I was like, do I really want to stay within this world where I'm literally just it was fun headaches where I was learning a hell of a lot, but it was just headaches, I would spend 3 weeks trying to figure out one tiny problem. I would get it and I would feel like I've done almost nothing. And it's like, no, I need I need something. I need to see, that I'm actually making progress on a game instead of like tech demos. So I went to GPU route with the idea that I mean, they are gonna be editable, uh, but I'm gonna figure out a different way to do that. Probably with just a bunch of different compute shaders, to be honest. Post processing and stuff like that. Looks like there's an ad that's gonna start here in just a second. I just ran out of water. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, so that was 2D noise. There is a couple of times where I instead fed 3D noise in. Uh, let's see if I can find those pictures. Um, and that was really cool too. The problem with that is that it was going to be yet another it was going to be yet another, what do you call it, thing to debug, right? Which I would have had to, debug that anyway. But considering I was debugging other things at the time, I didn't want to have to worry too much about full 3D noise debugging. Like here's nope, that's not one of them. Come on, where's my 3D noise stuff? Oh, here's one. So this is all 3D stuff. Stupid blobs of terrain midair and yep, and weird stuff like that. And that's so I did implement a little bit. So dual contouring has ways of fixing that a little bit. I remember, so dual contouring is still, cubes that you march, but of course you are correcting it essentially as you go. And instead of putting it on the corner or on the edges, it's in the middle, which makes it so that that happens less often, but there's still, you know, points where they're near the edge and it's still going to be floating because it's supposed to be something like that comes up and around and it just dips down into the middle of one of the cubes. And it's, yeah, and that was just going to be a thing that I would have to fine tune and figure out and things. Um, and it's, yeah, it's, here's another 3D thing with only one division instead of three. Uh, but yeah, it was already so incredibly confusing. Uh, let's see. Yeah, there's marching cubes. This is marching cube. So those are my first iterations. Yeah, and then I moved on to dual contouring, and it was just getting to be such a pain to get anything that felt like progress. And the whole time I'm thinking like I'm working so hard to get what feels like so little, and I want to make it on the GPU in the end anyway. Never got it to generate something that felt, yeah, that looks like a map. Um, yeah, so this is just biome. This random noise. It's called cellular noise, which it essentially is Voronoi, but it takes the averages of the Voronoi things and draws lines. Which, yeah, it's just a Voronoi thing. But yeah, they call it cellular noise. And then I don't put any fractals on top of it. This is, the cool thing about this is that I can place the biomes however I want as long as it's within, um, as long as it's basically just byte data, right? They're all of my terrain, all of my biomes are just enums, so they're just int values, and so these actually turn into a red pixel, which holds the value of that int. So dirt is 0 and forest is 4, I think. Things like that. And so this actually turns into a grid of small integers. And as long as I build that grid, I can feed that into my height map thing, and it doesn't care where that comes from. So the first thing I do is I generate this biome thing that ends up looking like this. So the actual biome number, since it's just red coded, since it's only 0 to 5 right now, you can almost, I don't even know if you could see that on the stream. And then I have another section after it that pulls from the materials to draw in based on what the biome number is, just to draw in the albedo of that. For blending them, I absolutely want to blend them. That's actually one of the things I was going to try to start today, but I don't. It's already 11:15, and I don't think I can tackle that in 30 minutes. But not only do I want to blend them, there are issues with doing it the way that I'm doing it right now. So right now, my current thought is that each biome should have its own noise value or noise type. So a forest, for instance, might be a little bit more varied or noisy than, say, a swamp, which is probably going to be almost exclusively very small, large hills, right? Um, well, small height, large hills, like very flat. Same with plains or whatever. Those are going to be very flat things versus meadows or dirt or mountains or whatever. And so I was basically thinking that each one is going to have its own defined noise for it. The problem, and that is what's going on right now, the problem happens when I go between different noise types. Obviously, there's going to be an overlap here where it just takes over. And that's very jarring. So it leaves these cliffs basically everywhere, and that doesn't look natural at all. So what I want to do, there's a couple of things that I want to do. Uh, one idea that I have is to generate one gigantic map with the same noise value. And then I use these biome noises essentially as extra fractals on top of that noise to modify it so that it's going to be the same base noise. It's just going to be modified in a different way based on the biome. Um, and then I want to also find these edge points here where they're like a cliff and average them out so that they become, like uh, could even do like a Bezier curve or something over it so that it lerps it down instead of just a drop off. Should have been in bed by now. Yeah, yeah, I know. Me too. All right. Thanks for hanging out. Bye bye. Sleep tight. But yeah, those are the two things that I want to do to blend them. I also want to actually maybe at some point have not really a biome so much as a um, like go through these edges and have a blended maybe not a blended biome, but essentially blend them in uh, when it gets to that point. And also, right now, everything is very harsh colored. That's just to show me that it's actually doing the biome calculation. Uh, Once the actual thing is out, a biome is just going to be its own base colors, its own trees, its own grass, that kind of stuff. And that's going to be based on this. It's not going to be, these harsh colors like this once it gets there. But first, this allows me to check to make sure that it's working, but it also really highlights these issues right here where they're just harsh drop offs and things. So I could put the forest to a higher gain, so that'll be the higher frequency noise, or it'll crash it. uh, Whenever I go back to this 3D tab, if I click that thing a little too fast, it crashes. There might be a fix to it, or I just have to not click so fast. Okay, 3D. So now that green should be higher noise, yeah, higher frequency noise, yeah. And that's all based in JSON, which is really, really cool. That's what I did last stream. Uh, the system text JSON thing, I did that off stream because that was a lot of digging. Maybe I will actually write up an article. I don't know, where I would do the article though. I've never written an article like that before, other than like internal stuff for work. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over exactly what I did today. Put it on Reddit or Medium. I don't know what Medium is, but yeah, I mean Reddit would work. Um, yeah, because you're very right. It absolutely has to be put out there because yeah, I don't think I could have figured it out myself just looking at the documentation and a bunch of disconnected Reddit posts, each saying conflicting things. I never would have been able to figure it out without ChatGPT and guiding it for a couple of hours. Blog platform mostly for devs. Yeah, yeah, I could take a look at that. Medium. Let me. Uh, oh, that's not what I wanted, but Medium. Well, that's probably not going to do it, is it? Wait, read and write stories. Human stories and ideas. Hmm. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Right now it's being blocked by Brave, I think, but that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and go over what I've done today. So thankfully, I've finished actually writing this GPU structs and JSON classes for passing this data back and forth. I got the GPU byte converter out by using the marshalling, and it's actually working this time. Now that I actually kind of understand what's happening, which is essentially just these fractal types have to be converted into int types instead of enums. Um, that makes things a hell of a lot easier in the future because all of this stuff can quite easily be converted by a struct directly into an array of bytes just by marshalling back and forth. And that is very much needed because when I pass the information out to the front, or not the front, out to the GPU, where is it? When I pass it out to the GPU, it has to be packed byte arrays. And if it's not exactly correct, then everything messes up because it doesn't know how to read those bytes. And so even like a small little gap of 1 byte or 4 bytes or something offsets all of the reads for it, and it just messes everything up. So structs have to be, not really, it doesn't have to be structs, but structs make it much easier so I don't have to manually massage the data into bytes. I could just marshal it directly. Um, so just a, really mostly it's code cleaning is what I've been doing. Offline, I'm probably going to remove all of these hard-coded dirt biomes. This is the stuff that I had just as what do you call it? Test data. And I want everything that a biome has in its own shader JSON file like this. And that will also be where this material path comes in, so that I can actually create different base materials for everything. And then once I do that, I no longer have to have all of these things cluttering up my my biome directory here. So yeah, not a whole lot of actual progress, but very much needed today. So I actually wonder if my Git is going to work. I haven't done anything with my home lab in a long time. So what branch am I on? I'm on the re-upload branch. All right. Well, um, call this I'll call it clean, right? Okay. Wait, go. Begin cleaning biome data into structs and classes. I guess separating biome data. Okay. That doesn't look like anywhere near enough. Oh, yeah, okay. It just skipped a lot of it as it was going. All right. See if it actually works or if I have to restart my Git instance. Come on. Oh. See, that's the wrong IP. All right, I'll have to reset my origins on those. Anyways, let's see if there's somebody that we can raid tonight. Raid a channel. Let's see what we have. Coding. Oh, I mean, Triple Jump Games is streaming right now. So yeah, we can. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll just raid Triple Jump Games again tonight. Nothing new, but he's a cool guy, so we'll go ahead and just start that raid. So thanks for hanging out, everyone, and for all the talking. Definitely got my brain working tonight, so I appreciate that. Have a good time, have a good night, and enjoy Triple Jump Games. All right, bye bye, everyone.